Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Couple of things we'd like to try and get out of the way, first of all. Announcements for this week is the last farmers market is going to be on October 13th, which has already gone by. We'd like to thank the farmers and the customers. Autumn Fest is going to be Saturday, October 20th from 11 to 4. They are still accepting vendors, and you can visit the website to register and find out more information. We're going to be meeting with Chief Lund, old business, non-public. A couple of things for new business before we start. The board has received from the DRA what our tax rate is going to be for this year and next year's first half tax bill. So our tax rate is going to be $28 per thousand, and that breaks down for $5.50 for municipal, $1.22 for county, education is $19, and state education is $2.28. The 19 is local education. So we'll be at 28, and we are currently at 26.73, I believe. I didn't bring that sheet in with me. I left it on the table.
You want that one? Current graph, the one that's up. What do you have?
What's that, Jay?
Did you want that graph? The one that
Yeah, if you have that.
I don't. I can go get it.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have your key?
It's, yeah, do you have your key?
Do you have your key?
I'll go in a minute.
It's a newer looking one. I haven't taken, I forgot to take the old one off.
Yeah. The other thing is we did receive a letter of resignation from our emergency management director, but he'll be staying on until the end of the year. We accepted it with regret, and we'll be looking for a new EMD. Current tax rate is $26.70, not $26.73, and next year's will be $28. And I'm going to want to remind the voters is last year's tax rate was kept what I'm going to call artificially low because the board voted to take $300,000 out of the fund balance to try and keep it close to the 2016 tax rate. But with where the local education rate was going, we didn't see that we're going to be taking another pool of money out of that fund balance. So we're at the 28 for this 2018 and the first half of 2019.
And I did, I'll let you know, I had to think about this because it's something we've done in the past, but this year as a board, we're considering a couple of possible warrant articles and we want to be able to fund them. So we couldn't do both. So that's why we didn't take any money out of the fund balance. So
Chief Lund,
Evening.
good evening.
First of all, the new truck is here.
Is it red?
It's red, but it's not silver in the back. It's yellow in the back.
Oh, yellow in the back. Well, look, there's silver on the back side of it, too.
So I just gave Carlotta one of these, and if it's okay, I'm going to put them around town. Our community dedication will be November 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. at the fire station, where we will put it into service, take the old one out of service, have cake, that kind of stuff. So get the community involved. There's a whole procedure for putting it into service, so we'll be doing that. Kind of making it a whole community event, since the purchase of it was a whole community event. So, because we have that one, we don't need engine 3 anymore. So Carlotta wanted me to come up and just address what you want to do with engine 3, because I don't have any say in that. And also, in that same conversation, we've got the command vehicle that's sitting down there that we decided we're not going to fix. As of last year, remember, there was a $6,000 and we opted not to do anything with it. And then we've still got 2 sets of tires that I don't know what we can do with either. So all 3 of those are kind of...
Tires,
All of the tires.
Well, the tires from the rescue should still be decent, and I did offer both sets to Peter, but he said he didn't want them. But I'm guessing that Hazen was going to talk to Peter about the ones from the rescue, because they're 11R22.5s, and they still have a lot of tread on them.
Why
Question is,
would
how
we-
old are the tires? Is it 9 years, I believe, is all
Yeah,
you
see,
can
because
run it?
that's for us too, and that's why we had to replace them.
Right, so
because
they know
we had to take them
they're
off.
not any good to
Yeah.
anyone if they're over 9 years old.
So we had offers from people that were willing to just take them and make a donation, but Carlotta said we can't do that because they belong to the taxpayers, so. So I have all that stuff that I need to know. I don't need to know, but at some point, you probably need to determine what you wanna do with it.
As far as the truck, I think that should be put out to bid.
I would agree, yeah.
I agree, how do
There's
you
been-
reach out to,
I have the name of a company, and I can get it for you and email it to you, that will put it out to bid on a national bid site, and one of the guys from the fire department said that they would do it for us at no cost, and sometimes they can get a bigger expense, or a bigger payout on them because they send them overseas, because the need for them overseas is higher. The other way would be, there has been some people that have expressed an interest on our Facebook page, but basically I've just been telling them that it would be the decision of the selectmen what they want to do. So I don't know if you want to keep it local as a sealed bid, or... I
well,
think
my
there's a
first
lot of-
question is, because we've had the discussion previously, would like Peter to chime in, is whether or not the highway department would use that old tanker for cleaning out the culverts.
And I did talk to Peter about engine 3, and that this truck is really too big for anything that he would need to do. But we have decided, we're keeping the old tanker in service, because it's our backup tanker, and he's gonna use it whenever he needs it for flushing culverts and everything.
So that's not the one that,
No, the
You
one
have-
we're
okay.
getting rid of is
Yep.
engine 3, which is the 1987.
okay.
And he has no need for it. I did speak with him about it.
It's quite a bit larger than the.
Yeah, it's really wide and it's really long, so
Right.
even for flushing culverts, it's not
Yeah,
really
no, it's-
practical. And I don't,
The older
the
truck
pump isn't in the best condition.
Could you forward the information for that contact?
Yep, I will. He just talked to me tonight about it, so that's why I don't have the information for you yet, otherwise I would.
And then I would say the same thing on the, yeah, I mean, if we can put the truck out for national bid on a contact like that, I think that'd be a good thing. But I would say the tires, if Peter does not have a vehicle that they can go on and
I think his concern was they were too old and.
9 years
Yeah,
is shelf life
I'm
on
thinking the
time.
same thing,
Oh.
is if they're not good enough to
Oh,
go
I
on their
thought-
trucks, then,
okay, so
Well,
these
there are different requirements for fire department trucks
Okay.
than there are for like loaders and dump trucks and
Yeah, they're not gonna load
No.
it.
Right.
But the requirement is non-different. It's
Okay.
9-year shelf life on a tire for a commercial vehicle.
Okay, then I would say put them
And that
out
takes
for,
care of it.
Yeah, that,
make
they
a
just,
motion, put them out
And
for
the
a sealed
tanker
bid.
ones, although
they
the
Just put
just
them
throw
out.
them in and throw them away. They're no good.
No, I'm saying,
I don't want us selling tires that are no good.
That's my concern.
Right.
Is what's our liability?
Yeah, I don't believe they're any good to anybody, once they're 9 years old. I mean, we could look into that, but I think they're just going to tire trailer or
Yeah.
landfill, to be honest.
okay, then get rid of them. So, is that a motion, Misty?
so long they don't end up on the side of the roads.
You wouldn't put them there now, would you?
No, I
All right.
wouldn't.
I mean, you can ask somebody that does vehicle inspection, but I don't think those tires are good for anybody
Yeah.
after 9 years old.
No. Make a
I
motion.
know the tanker ones are too small for anything that Peter has, because I did ask him about those, because those are the ones we just replaced. The rescue are the ones we replaced last year. So where do you want me to put all of this stuff?
Well,
So the tires, I can have somebody take to the landfill, that's
Well,
not a problem.
correct.
Storage of your fire truck is your problem.
It's not my fire truck anymore.
it is your fire truck. It doesn't
Yeah.
belong to the rec department. It belongs
Yeah.
to the fire department.
Yeah.
I saw in some correspondence somewhere about you planning to put it down. And have you had any conversations with Peter about availability?
No, and
Okay.
my thing,
And that's why we have this little bit of
Yeah.
friction amongst departments.
no, we don't have any friction between the three of us.
Yeah, not on the surface, but anyway.
So, no, I'm not looking for him to house it. We're gonna put it outside somewhere. Right now, it's outside the fire station. The only problem would be, depending on how long it sits there, if it interferes with plowing, that's what we don't want to happen.
Well, just,
Right, so
We can put it
can I
around the
suggest
back.
that you have a conversation with Peter when he returns from vacation and
And I was
see if
gonna
a
do that after I knew
mutual-
what you wanted to do with it, yeah.
is the old highway garage full
I have no idea.
across from you? Is that? There's two
It's
bays there.
too long. It won't fit in there. Because there's, in the back of that one bay, the command vehicle's in one bay, we've got a trailer in there which we could move, it's a hazmat trailer. But if we move that, there's a whole bunch of files and a whole bunch of junk in there,
Well, if it's
which
junk,
makes
throw
it
it
so the
away.
truck won't fit.
If it's junk, throw it away.
I don't know, some of it's records and stuff, and I think we have to keep them for 10 years. But the problem is that the files kind of all got thrown into boxes, this was before me, and they're not in any rhyme or reason, so before we can throw them away, we have to go through every one of them.
I can't
And
imagine
they're
in
full
that
of
building,
mold and mildew.
you can't find room to put a truck. If you move the trailer and the command vehicle along with the junk in one bay, then you have an open bay. And if we're not doing anything with the command vehicle, why don't we put that out to bid at the same time we put the engine 3? Then that'll go away as well.
I'm fine with
That
that.
would be my suggestion on that.
You go with that, Dave?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright. So,
So-
if we can,
You could put the command vehicle outside, because that has less value than engine 3, and put engine 3 inside if you could jockey some stuff around in that old building, correct?
We'll try it.
and then, yeah, if we can get the contact for that and get that out for bid.
I
And-
mean, hopefully it wouldn't,
Right, it won't hang around long,
Right.
right.
yeah.
Right.
But
We obviously have
in
to
the
keep-
meantime, let's get it under cover, so it's,
Yeah, because right now, it's sitting outside the station just because we don't have any room for it.
right.
And we haven't put it across the street because technically we've got it still in service as a response unit for if we had to set up any kind of water supply. So it's still full of water, and it's still got 4-inch hose and suction lines on it. So we can use it, and we've got the battery disconnected so that we can quickly connect it and run it to a water source.
Well, outside or in that building, you're gonna get the same temperature, so it's
Pretty
not,
soon, yeah.
So,
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna get you the information on that company.
do you wanna, give the command vehicle to the same company, or do you wanna do that local, same company?
Could see if they would take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're able to do it, if not, then we can just list it local.
Yeah.
And then can I ask one more thing? It's not technically on the list.
You get 38 seconds.
Didn't we decide the last time I was here that we weren't gonna fill in the drains in the fire station until we dealt with the driveway?
No.
Well, we have a big problem at the moment.
No, we had to fill it in because you can't have fuels
can't
and
have
such
Floor
going
drains
into
in the
the
garage.
into the
So
garage.
now we have a building that was designed for water to flow into the drain, so now the water even if you squeegee it because of the slope of the driveway, it slopes into the station, so now the water just runs back in. And a bigger complication is they filled in the front 2 drains, and they didn't fill in the back 2 drains, and the back 2 drains feed into the front 2 drains in order to go out of the building. So now the water runs back and stays stationary there. When we wash the trucks in the front bays, because of the slope of the floors, it runs to the back drains and it runs into the drains and it has no place to get out of the
Did you
building.
talk to Mark about the back drains? I'm presuming he's the one that filled them in.
Mark hasn't spoken to me at all. That's
Well,
that communication thing.
can you find a
Right.
way?
I
We're not a big town.
We talked, and I sent him a message about that.
we didn't even know he was doing the drains. He just all of a sudden showed up and the drains were full and there was cones and caution tape across them so we didn't drive on them. We had no idea he was gonna do that. Otherwise, we would have told him, hey, there's drains in the back too. But what do we do about the water for the winter time? Because the water won't clear the station.
Well, do you have seals on those overhead doors to keep water from draining in?
There's a little bit of seals, but as soon as you open it, the water just runs right back in.
And how is the paving gonna correct that? Is the paving there raised
Because we
above your?
talked about the paving needs to incorporate some kind of way that, especially in the back too, and in the front as well, where the stuff will slope away from the station.
Right, and if it slopes away from the station,
Then we'll be okay, but right now it doesn't.
Meredith, let me finish my sentence, please.
Mm-hmm.
If the slab is at one elevation and the pavement outside slopes away, are you saying now that the pavement outside is higher than the inside slab?
Looks like it.
Looks like it.
Yep, when you stand outside, you can actually see that it slopes toward those drains. That's the question I thought you were
The
asking.
concrete slab inside the building is pitched to the drain. But by changing the pavement outside,
The pavement is higher than the slab at this point outside. That's what it looks like when you stand there.
we'll review it.
Okay. Because, okay.
Turn the driveway back to dirt, then we don't want to run.
Yeah,
back
that's what
in.
I'm thinking, just cut it out and,
The water will just,
which is worse, taking out the pavement now and putting gravel there until next year when it gets paved, or leaving it the way it is?
If we could take the pavement out now until next year when we pave it, we would be better off. Because the pavement, and then what happened when they did the cement was when they filled in these drains and all the excess cement that they had left over from the truck, they just dumped all over the driveway. So we now have these piles of cement that they left as well. And I just put a $450,000 truck into it. So the driveway is in such bad shape right now, I think we would be better off to at least take those aprons and bring them down to gravel, so long as it doesn't affect Peter's capabilities to plow. That would be my only concern.
he should be all right. He's got the bucket on the backhoe that does that, and he could run it on the concrete apron and whatever we leave for pavement.
that
I
gonna
would-
be
I
gravel?
don't recommend taking all the pavement out.
I don't either.
I would use the grading bucket on the backhoe to do that, which is probably,
Will it leave
2
us
feet.
enough of a surface on there that we won't be driving mud into the station? Because we won't
No.
have any way to get rid of mud.
You will be,
you'll be taking mud into the
Yeah.
dirt and mud, yeah.
yeah, that's why I would think you're better off leaving the pavement,
Then we
but,
better leave it. And it's raising issues with mold in the building too, because if you look at engine 2, the inside, or engine 3, I'm not saying that since he filled the drains in, but we already have a mold issue. Because engine 3 is all, because it sits in the back, is all covered with mold on the inside.
do you have a dehumidifier going in there
We've
or
been
anything?
running it all summer long. So I don't know what to do with that
So
either.
where's the moisture coming
I
from?
don't know. Honestly don't know.
Are they washing trucks inside the bay?
We have always washed trucks inside the bay. We
Is
have to
there a
wash
reason?
trucks inside the bay.
Maybe we can't.
Yeah, maybe,
We have to. Especially in the winter.
Well, maybe in the winter, but you don't have to in the summer.
In the summer, we mostly have been washing them outside.
you're more familiar than I am. What have we got down at the highway department for them to be able to wash in there?
Well, the floor drains were eliminated down there as well. I don't think the water puddles as much in that building as
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
We
it
still
does.
have water coming in in the back,
So you could wash
In the
them.
back where?
in the office, the back radio room and the back of the bay where engine three's gonna park.
This is the first I've heard of mold and water
This is
coming
the
in.
first I've known of mold, but I
Okay.
have brought the water issue up a couple times.
You have. She has. And it's all a matter of drainage out back. It's
Where's the
not,
water coming in?
it's groundwater.
It's-
It's running in.
It's the way it needs to be, and that was part of the reason I think we held off on the driveway, was because it needs to be pitched away from the building. Right now, the back is pitched toward the building and it's running right in under the doors.
Is this the area where the fire department constructed those little additions on the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of it is, and then the other part is the office, which has always been there, which is the communications room.
I think
The
what
back
happened,
part of
Between the
kitchen.
two trailers?
The back of
Between the
the,
trailer and the building?
no,
No?
the back part of the kitchen, which would be where the staircase is to the second floor. That consistently floods. And I don't know why, except for the pitch of the ground, I don't know why.
If I'm thinking to go upstairs, I used to go in the side door, turn right and go up the stairs.
Then there's another staircase in the kitchen, so you come up
In the
this
back.
staircase.
Where the
if
old
you come
generator
over-
is?
On the other side of the furnace room. So on the inside side of the
Right, I
furnace.
know that back area, but where's the water coming in from? The right-hand side, as I'm looking to the back of the property, between your trailers and the building?
coming in from the back.
The back
Coming in
side,
from the back, there's a back door that goes into into that communications room,
okay.
and it's coming in there somehow.
Coming in where though? Under a door? So we don't know.
No,
I think part
we
of,
just know
part
it's a
of the,
lot of water.
part of the issue is the drainage is lacking. It ponds, and I think, and I know the guys that put the addition on the back of the fire station meant well, but I think that's probably caused some of the problem, because now the water can't get beyond that because of the topography. I think
And I don't disagree. Yeah.
a little bit of grading out back there could go a long way, but I think it needs to be addressed.
Where's the water come from? The Boynton side or from the back?
Yeah,
of
in the
property?
back, it comes to that general area. The oil tank is buried out there, but it's elevated. So it's trapping water is what it's doing. It can't get away. So maybe some sort of membrane up the side of the building, a clay berm or something will keep the water.
I'm assuming between this oil tank
Mm-hmm.
and the building, there's room.
8 or 10 feet maybe.
Well, I'm just thinking if you had 3 feet, can they?
Oh yeah, they should be able to
swale
do
it?
something. Yeah, they should be able to swell that.
Would you mind talking to Peter
I
when
will
he
when
comes
he comes
back?
back, absolutely, yep.
All
Yep.
right.
Easy thing to solve.
Do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, just some sort of drainage, because there is none there now.
Okay. That's it. And did you get my email from our business meeting minutes? Is that kind of what you're looking for?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, it's not what you're looking for.
Push me. When David asked me, I said, "Hey, I know 100% more than I did before I got it, but it's probably some of it's probably a little bit more than what we need, and some of it's not what David's looking for. I'm not exactly sure what David's looking for."
And I'll get to that.
Yeah, but I mean, I was like, hey, you know what? I look at it, this is awesome because I see where her delegation is happening. That, you know, she's got these different people in charge of these different departments. If I have a question or if someone has a question, I can go, hey, go talk to, you know, trust me, there's a person in charge of that. It's not just, hey, well, I can't find the chief. No, go talk to one of the lieutenants, whatever. They'll find, you know, there's someone that'll do that. And I could see where your programs are happening and what trainings you got coming up and things like that. I was very happy with that. But there was other stuff that was like, I probably, you know, I
Well,
just
I
scanned
figured
over it.
that.
Right. You know,
But because we're
then,
typing them up and posting it,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
easy to send
yeah.
it to you.
now as far as what David wants, that's, you know, who knows?
I do.
I know.
That's one of us.
Exactly as John's saying, there's a lot of information in there that I really don't need to know. If you could just hit the bullets on, you know, if it's something that you're doing, training, think of it this way. What's the purpose of the report? Is to keep the board informed on what's going on and how we can help you. Okay, so in there, it's more of what happened at their meeting, things that they have going on, which to me, I think in 3 sentences could have bulleted that, but I'm more concerned with what do we need to do as a board to be planning or to helping if there's problems, or just being kept abreast of what's going on.
Okay. I'm
That's
just
all.
trying to make it.
And if there's
just trying to
nothing
make it
that you
not
have for
another
us,
Right, and not
report
another
that
report.
right.
But it'd be, you know, so I would take that as, you know, if then in that meeting you found out, hey, we got mold on engine 3, then we go, you know, discuss with the board on what we need to do to, yeah, or the, you know, the surprise on the drains, and like, because you talked about the drains in there, but you didn't talk about the fact that there's 2 other drains that weren't even touched, and that's causing the other problem. So then we could have, 2 weeks ago, whatever, could have already started working there, you know, to get someone else to go out, either fill the other 2 drains.
Oh, believe me, I was visiting Carlotta the very next day.
So,
But I haven't heard from Mark, so.
Yeah, you won't for a couple days.
He's on vacation, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
11th
all
to
right,
the
so
17th.
shorter report, got it.
thanks, Meredith.
the Cliff Notes version, I think is what we call it.
So by the time I get my next review, I'll have it down to the side. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand you're Tom Rizzo?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We did get your letter,
Okay.
but I'll let you speak if there's something you wanna add to this, or I can just respond.
Well, I guess I could add some more stuff. I mean, I'd like to hear your interpretation of my letter.
Okay. Because I think we got 2 letters regarding the transitions from the road to paved driveways.
Correct.
The contractor is coming back to pave those everywhere, because
Oh,
there's many of them.
No,
If you
correct.
walk-
I understand that they're,
Right.
I didn't realize they were coming back. I thought they
Yeah.
had finished up
No.
last Saturday or something. Our major concern is the height of the road now. I don't know if you're familiar with that part of Timber Top. I live at 93. My wife and I live at 93 Timber Top. And when they came through to originally do the road, I was under the assumption that they were gonna remove the asphalt, grade, and then, you know, put the new surface on. Apparently what they did was they just ground up the old asphalt that was there, tried to compact that, and then they applied maybe 3-4 inches of new asphalt on top of that. The problem is, our driveway comes up at such an angle. Before it was an angle like this, but now it's increased quite a bit. And my wife drives a vehicle that sits pretty low to the ground. She's having a hard time getting up and over the hump. She's got to go out at an angle. Now, that's a problem in itself. But another problem is, twice since the road has been paved, she's almost been hit by the people coming down the hill, coming past Hubbard Pond, coming down the hill. They have to be going at least 40-50 miles an hour when they're coming down that hill. And she had to almost turn into the mailbox this last time. So the vehicle swerved to get out of her way, and you know, it's just a real concern to us.
Let me try and address 2 things there. The first is the elevation of the road has not changed significantly. All they've done is they pulverize the pavement that's there and mix it in with the sub-base material that's there. So a matter of 4 inches of pavement, because that's what we do add.
Right, they did pulverize.
Yeah, just let me just finish
Okay.
1 second. That wouldn't have made that much of a difference on a driveway. Now, my first question, and you don't need to answer it right now, is what's the incline of your driveway? Is that steep that any change in the road would make it more difficult? The second issue is regarding speeding. I don't have here in front of me, but we had last week.
Yeah, last week.
No, that's quite all right. Where the police chief had patrols up there for 13 hours to check speeds. And there were a lot that got pulled over. They were doing 35, where it's posted at a 30. But the results of that patrol, let's say, was that 90% of the vehicles that were going through there were driving reasonable. We had probably about 10% that were not. And at that time, because it had just been paved, my understanding is it wasn't posted with the speed limits. They had just added the signs, but we had asked him to put patrols up there because that's the first thing we expected to hear was that now that it's paved, they're speeding. So,
Okay,
Oh.
well,
I do know, I mean, as far as, I do know that what has changed specific to your driveway is the transition. Over time, the road itself had, just deteriorated and become a much smoother transition from the road into your driveway. Now, because it's new, it's a pretty sharp cut right there, and I do know I think that's part of it, because I know that there's other people that are having the same thing as they're dropping down onto it, because yours is a dirt driveway or is it a paved driveway?
it's dirt.
Yeah.
But we did have an apron that came down from the existing driveway.
Right.
And the apron is probably about 3 or 4 inches lower than the new road surface. So you can't tell me that, granted, they ground this stuff up, you take X amount of material, you grind it up, you pack it down, you're not gonna get it to the point where the new asphalt's gonna be the existing height. It's
no,
impossible.
that's not what I said. I said it went up 4 inches.
Right.
Right.
But that was just enough to make it so difficult for my wife to get out of the vehicle now. My question is, why wasn't these spotted before they did the grading? Why didn't this company come in and say, hey, we're gonna have a problem with this driveway. Maybe we should grade down this road a little bit more. It would have been nothing for them to grade down that road 4 inches, from my neighbor's house across the street to down around the corner. It would have been nothing for them to do it. And I actually went out and talked to the foreman of the road. He said, it's not our problem, you have to talk to the town. Which was my mistake. I should have at that point come to the town. But he said, everything will be just the way it was. But it's not just the way it was. It's higher, I'm telling you, it's higher. I wouldn't have come down to make this a big incident if it wasn't higher. The problem is it's higher, and it's just gonna be a matter of time. It's not just my wife, it's the woman down below us too, who shares the driveway. She's having a hard time getting out of the driveway. And it's just a matter of time for somebody hits my wife and kills her, and then we're gonna have a big problem.
Well, let's hope it doesn't ever come to that. And you will see, as David has said, and you're gonna get 3 to 4 inches of rise out of a new road. Once they pulverize, once they grade it and roll it, you get lift. It's inevitable. So you're living with it. And Peter's on vacation right now, but I'm sure when Peter comes back, I can talk with him, and we can remedy this, I believe, so that we're all happy with what's going on. I mean, it's still under construction. They still have to do the building up of the shoulder, so they're not done over there. I think when that's done, they'll be adding material to both sides of the road. They'll be adding material to dirt driveways as well as they come by with a shoulder machine, correct word, the shoulder machine, which they'll be putting out crushed gravel, and then they have a small 3 or 4 foot roller that they use to roll the shoulders. So don't get too excited at this point. Let us finish the project, and then if you're still not happy, then by all means come back.
You made the comment that every new road is raised up. My neighbor across the street, when they came by and they filled in his driveway, and it's perfectly level with the new surface. Why is that? Because when they came down with the grading machine, they graded to compensate for any new asphalt being put in. What I don't understand is, why didn't they compensate for the apron that we had existing there on our driveway? Why did they have to go up so high?
I can't answer that question.
I'm gonna say that without seeing it, okay? What the primary concern is when they're laying out grading that road is we're looking for road drainage to make sure that we're not creating.
I understand that, but you're talking a span of maybe 200 or 300 feet. And it is at an angle, and they did grade it off properly. They could have brought it down a few more inches, is what I'm saying. I mean, everything's hindsight now. I know the road's not gonna get ripped up to compensate for my driveway. My question is, why wasn't somebody out there, engineering this situation?
Because we don't hire an engineer when we're rebuilding the roads. If you want us to do that, our road program that we've had in place for getting all of these roads rebuilt, we'd only have half of them done because we'd be paying engineers to engineer roads. All we're doing is rebuilding the roads. That's all we're doing. We're not re-engineering, redesigning, laying them out. We thought what we were doing was a plus for the people
No,
on
it
Timber
is.
Top.
I'm not complaining about that.
Then as Jay said, let them finish the work, and if there's still an issue, we'll have to get it addressed at
Yeah,
that time.
because there's work to be done, I believe, on Greenbrier as well, so they've got to finish them up, and I believe it's gonna be done. Peter will be back from vacation in the next week or so, and I believe the intent is to get on that.
But you said you had a paved apron at the bottom of the driveway.
Right, yeah, the previous owner, I guess when they originally paved Timber Top, I don't know how many years ago it was.
30? No, it was a long time.
What
Yeah.
was it? I guess Bob Close had to stomp his feet and basically do what I'm doing right now, just to get them to come back and, this is what I'm told
Yeah,
from my
I-
neighbor down below.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was gonna be, turn into this, but, after watching my wife a couple times get hit coming out of the driveway,
But one doesn't correlate with the other, so.
No, it does, well, no,
Yeah.
it does, because.
It doesn't. Somebody's driving on Timber Top Road at 50 miles an hour.
Shame on them.
Shame on them.
Right, but my wife can't get out of the driveway. They put sand, the town came by and put sand to compensate for the gap. And now her wheels are spinning on the sand.
But I think they did that because you sent a letter and they're saying, well, what can we do in the meantime?
I believe
No,
you're right,
they-
that was a
Yeah.
Band-Aid
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
because
try to appease.
they did it. They did it on everyone because, like, even the people with the paved driveways, there were cuts made, so there were gaps. So they used sand to fill in the gaps well up the road.
But the one thing I want to make sure, excuse me, that I want to make sure, going back to my question to you, your apron that was there, did they remove that? Or
No,
is it
it's
still
still
there?
there.
So it's still there?
Yeah.
So between your apron and the road, that has not been tied in together?
No.
Okay.
And like I said, it's, here's the new road surface right here, and the apron is down here. I
And
don't,
your road, and your driveway goes up,
no, it
Up
goes
from his
down,
house.
down?
Yeah.
goes
Okay.
down from here.
Right.
Yeah.
But the existing road was down here, and now, they filled this all in with sand.
You'll have to-
Yeah, but if
you'll
they,
have to fill that in.
yeah, when they put in the gravel and put in that apron back there, that should solve your problem, right? Because if they took the
Yeah,
apron,
yeah,
or,
it's gonna have to.
Yeah.
Right. If they took the apron out, they should be replacing the apron.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't take the apron out. The apron's there, and,
but between the apron and the road, you
They-
now don't have pavement,
no,
because they removed
I
it.
probably had like a foot between the new road surface and the apron.
Right. And they filled that in.
Filled that in with sand.
They're supposed to be coming back and filling that in with compactable material, so your tires wouldn't spin there.
Well, that should be paved.
Paved.
Back
Should be a
from
paved
the
apron,
road
right,
back to
yeah.
your apron.
Yeah.
Whatever was there before, like, there's many people with driveways, and they marked it out, and they saw cut that out.
Mm-hmm.
But when the machine goes by to pave, that's what we call handwork. They'll send a crew back to fill that in, and that's
Yeah,
what they
I know
should
what that
do.
is. I
Yeah.
just,
Well,
my thought process, and I can't get over this, why did they raise the road so high? Why didn't they just keep it the same
Be-
level?
Because it would have any water that would have gone on the road, because the road now has a proper crown to it.
3-4 slope, yeah.
All the water that would have been on the road would have gone right down your driveway.
Well,
So you would.
but if they put the apron on there, it's still gonna go down there. And you can't make that comment because you just said you don't have it engineered. You guys are saying you're engineers?
No, the paving company knows how to put a crown on the road, and what they do is they go down and they're able to. That's what the little pink markers and such are in the road, so they know how high to make it so that it drains to one side or drains to another with the pitch of the road.
and our DPW director does go out there to address the drainage, because there's a section on Timber Top Road, and I can't tell you address-wise, I can tell you when I drive it, it's this area here, that they actually raised that area because of the poor drainage that's in that area. And that's it.
So,
Okay.
but what they're saying, but what we're saying is, yes, you will have some drainage off the road, but if they had taken the road and brought it all the way back down, even to your apron now, the road would not pitch far enough away, so you would be getting, on that turn, you would be getting a substantial amount of water coming right down your driveway because of the way the road curves coming around there. If they had leveled it down, you'd have substantial water running down your driveway. The only, my driveway is the one that it runs down on Hubbard Pond because of the way the hill runs.
Right, I mean, you know, I'm beating a dead horse here. I know if they had originally graded the road, you know, down, you know, over 300 or 400 feet, you wouldn't have noticed the difference, and you could have still had that crown there. Regardless, if they come back and put the apron on, the water's still gonna come down my driveway, because it's gonna be at a perfect angle from the crown. So, I mean, my question is, you know, one, what are we gonna do? And obviously, you guys answered that question. They're gonna put the new apron down. And two, what can we do about the speed? You could say the police gonna be there all the time. They're doing patrols.
They're not gonna be
They're
there
not-
all the time.
Oh,
I don't wanna give you that illusion.
No, I'm saying, but you know, some people could say that, yeah, we'll have patrols in the neighborhood. Actually, when I came out here tonight, I saw a guy going westbound on Timber Top. You know, he had to be going 40, 50 miles an hour. You know, and
It's, well, the thing is the issue is everyone, and I'm not saying this is what you're saying right now, Tom, but is that everyone's saying we paved this road, now it's just a racetrack. Okay? It was people blow down that when it was dirt, when it was paved, whatever. Today, coming home, I've come down Timber Top, split off into Hubbard Pond. I'm just past the paved part of Hubbard Pond now, and this guy comes towards me on my side of the road doing well over the speed limit. It's on a dirt road. So but the thing is, I mean, the speeding, we're gonna get speeding. People speed down Turnpike, people speed down Temple Road, they speed, unless we have, you know, true speed, deterrent in the road, they're going to speed. And unfortunately, coming down that hill, coming down from Timber Top back onto Timber Top, has always been a speed issue. Unfortunately, maybe it's more noticeable because it's compounded with trying to get out of the driveway. So hopefully if we can fix the one issue, which is getting that apron fixed, then Deb won't have such a hard time getting out of the driveway, and we won't have such a problem. But I mean, not to say anything, but there was someone came out of a driveway as I was going down, and I'm extremely cautious about, I actually go under the speed limit coming down, and because of that, and someone pulled out of a driveway like they didn't see me, and then got to the end of Timber Top and pulled out on the turnpike in front of traffic like no one saw them, and 3 cars behind them, because that's a 50 on Turnpike right there, had to slam on their brakes. So it's but hopefully if we can solve the one problem, the second problem will be negligible. So but
well, I understand that. I just, for some reason in life, I like to beat a dead horse, and I just couldn't understand the logic and the common sense of the paving company. That was my frustration. That's nothing against you guys, or I know it's a small town, limited funds, but a little common sense would have said, hey, we need to address this issue, and
Give us time to finish it up, and if you still have an issue at that point, I mean, please feel free to come back and beat us up some more, that's why we're
Well,
here.
I hope I didn't beat you guys up.
No,
No, you did not.
You guys aren't that
And you're
sensitive.
welcome to come
Yeah,
in.
and Tom, once it's done, you don't even have to wait. Let me know,
right,
and I'll take pictures of it. Jay has experience with it. I'll ask him to come down so that when he can actually look at it and go to Peter with, an intelligent, explanation of what we need to have done.
Well,
So you don't even have to wait for, let the apron get fixed. Let's see what happens, and then let us know, and we will get down there. So you don't even have to take the time to do
next time
this.
it won't be me who comes, it'll be my wife.
Ah.
And you're gonna have to deal with her crying.
oh no, don't do that to me.
Yeah? All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Yeah, you're
Thank you,
welcome,
Tom.
anytime.
I don't wanna ignore you. Are you here for something or just
Yes,
pure
I-
entertainment?
No, I'm here for something.
Okay,
This one,
okay.
and I think Jim wanted to sneak in
Oh.
He
No,
does
he
a
can't.
couple minor
He
things.
does
Go
that
away
to us,
now.
He always says
If
that,
you
but
wanna
it's
take care of him, I'll run to the Legion.
Go right ahead.
Where is it?
Okay, so you got about
Down
3
the
minutes.
hallway and over to the
before,
left.
yeah, on the left before you get to the man looking at the TVs.
Mr. Coffey, what brings your welcome face here?
Well, we have a lawsuit,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen some of the correspondence involved with it. What it is, it's got to do with, the Hillsborough District Court it's really the big
You talking about the utility one?
utility lawsuits,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't think the lawyer understands how we're set up, okay, because he should be addressing it to the Board of Assessors, not the Board of Selectmen.
Well, any legal thing should be coming through the selectmen, no?
No.
But it's not just our
I'm not
town.
saying we should, don't misunderstand, I'm not saying we shouldn't work together.
Well, at least let us know about it.
But I guess the example I would give would be if the assessors were out of the loop and never saw this paperwork,
Yeah.
okay? And I happen to be very aware of the paperwork, okay?
Weren't we all served?
Yeah, I mean, they serve the selectmen, but anyway.
They serve the selectmen and the town clerk.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought
they
you
also
have-
did.
You have to serve the clerk,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But when it comes down to doing anything with it, the selectmen have no authority. So the selectmen could get together with the lawyer, get together with the plaintiff, which let's say is Eversource, concoct some sort of screwy deal, but they have no authority to do it because only the people that assess have the authority to abate. So we need to work together on it. So what I'm getting at is I think they need to address documents, I would say, to the Board of Assessors and copy the Board of Selectmen. And we should all be on the same page.
Isn't this all part of that ongoing
Yes.
one, now just broken out?
Well, here's what happened. In the past, Eversource went to the BTLA every year. So these things started getting stacked up. Well, the BTLA rounded them all up because they're all the same case. Now, there may be variations in how they were assessed, which may mean that some things will shake out a little bit differently. But what really happened over a period of, that must be pretty close to a decade now, or close to it, of all these appeals, it wound up going to the state Supreme Court. The state Supreme Court blew Eversource and the DRA out of the water and said no. So now what they're doing is they're going to Superior Court. So instead of ending up in front of one board, they're going to be scattered all over the place. Somebody's going to round these things up into one sooner or later. But what I'm getting at is that the Board of Assessors needs to be included in this, and I don't think the attorney understood that in this town, what would be traditionally the selectman's assessing function belongs to a separate board.
So what is it that the attorney's done that wasn't?
Well, they have to file an appearance.
They've sent us an engagement letter
Yeah, you have, yeah.
to join them on this particular segment of the suit, which deals with.
You've had them before.
Right,
It's not a new law for
But
us.
I didn't,
It's
when I
gonna
read
be-
that letter, I didn't take it that we needed to. I think it was a letter to you for,
No. Jim, well,
I
Jim-
contacted
Yeah.
them because I
Was
knew
it the
something
stuff?
was missing.
is that in this folder?
Yeah, it's towards the back. Yeah, it doesn't look like it anymore, but it is.
I think,
It's in one of the folders.
because now it's in Superior Court, our partners, our partner municipalities will be a select group in a geographic
But
area.
he has to file an appearance. And
Right.
in order to file an appearance in the court,
I think it's in one of those. Because
the
I think it's
defendant,
asking for
which
your
is the town,
signature on it.
has
So
to
it's in that
sign
one.
off, allowing him to make the appearance.
It's not.
Right, I remember reading something
Yeah.
along that line.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. I mean, I think you guys should sign off
The person that
on
pulled out
allowing
the
him to
phone,
make an
was his-
appearance.
The person that pulled out the phone
Hmm.
with his neighbor
Hmm.
looking for it. She pulled right in front of the other day. She almost got creamed on turnpike.
Yeah, so Chris Bull
Mm-hmm. To start it,
wrote to Jim
yeah.
in regards to PSNH versus New Ipswich
Mm-hmm.
and said, yes, we've represented New Ipswich before.
Mm-hmm.
And he had talked with Jim about the Stoddard case and basically said, like that one, we need to send out new engagement agreement, since the group for the 2017 appeals are being split by the company into Superior Court versus BTLA cases. So
See, what I found was
Jim,
that you guys have been served to the clerk,
to Chris.
but nobody told the assessors about it. The clerk was sitting there with it. Oh, okay, just sitting there with it. So and once I saw that, I was looking for something because I knew that if this one got served, like where I work, and this one, and this one, and this one, there had to be one here, okay? And the bottom line is, on this and Fairpoint, the amount of dollars, tax dollars involved is significant,
Mhm.
okay? I mean, where I work, for example, the public service tax dollars are significant, but the consolidated or Fairpoint are insignificant. And there's reasons for it, okay? They're not worth fighting over. You know, it's like $800 or something, okay? You're not gonna go to war over that, okay? Neither is the other company, so you can probably come to a meeting of the minds on that. But what made that work was the town has two phone companies and the other phone company can care less. But here you have one with a lot more infrastructure. So what you got there is they need the town, because they represent the town. They need the town to authorize them to file an appearance. And I think it's perfectly appropriate for the Board of Selectmen to sign off on that. I mean, it all comes down to the purse strings. But then when we get into the gory details of the assessing and all the other stuff, that should come over to the Board of Assessors. So what I'm trying to say is both boards need to be informed. And on the same page.
I haven't read their engagement letter, but my first thing is how many towns are part of this?
I have no idea.
I don't think they know either, but
But if
they're
you
saying
don't- if
it'll
you
be
don't
prorated share.
If you don't sign that engagement letter, then you have to respond some other way. What are you gonna do? Have the town attorney do it? You might as well have the specialist do it. Because it's gonna get bundled up with some others.
When the sheriff deputy came to my house, he says he's been driving around, I think for a couple days to a week, just doing nothing but what he was doing.
Oh, yeah,
Serving this, serving it, and he was really good. He goes, this isn't you, you're just the agent of the town. I just need to, but he said that was his job for like a week, just driving around the state, serving towns.
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of them.
How many were engaged in the previous, do you know?
What's that?
How many other towns?
I don't know
You
the
don't know,
number off the
okay.
top of my head, but but here's the thing, it all went to the BTLA, it went to one central point. Now they've got these county courthouses all over the place.
All I'm referring to is I know we were part of a group of towns.
Right, no, you're right.
And I was just curious if you know how many towns
I
were
can
part of
find
that.
out, but I just don't know.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Because I'm presuming if Eversource did it to us, they did to every one of those towns that were
Oh, yeah.
part of that.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, it's a new tactic, okay? They went to the BTLA, Fairpoint went to Superior Court. Now, Eversource, or PSNH, is going to Superior Court. And each one of these things they file, the defendant has to answer. So, up front, we're by ourselves. And then there's gonna be a whole host of them in there, okay, so. We'll see how this works out. I mean, I can't envision the courts wanting to have every county court rule on essentially the same case for all these different towns individually, because they'll come up with wacko decisions. In other words, Carroll County will do something different than Hillsborough County, which will do something different than Cheshire. It could be a nightmare. But my guess is they're gonna put it together. They did that with the telephone companies. They threw it all into one court. But we still have to.
But how long will it take? How long has that other one been going on?
I don't know. I had a full head of hair and it wasn't correct. It was right after we sold the light company.
That's a long time ago.
No, it hasn't been that long.
No, but it seems like it.
Yeah. All right. Keep that up to read.
So I got one other item, so. And,
So do we.
okay, we have this organization called the New Ipswich Antique Fire Brigade.
Wait a minute, before we go into that, let's stick to assessors.
What?
Do you have a recommendation yet for filling the vacancy?
No, but my suggestion is that if you want, we can put together, and we can do it this way, put together, let's say, an advertisement, a help wanted. And let's, I mean, we want to see who wants to volunteer to do this. It's not the worst job in the world. You could run into some angry people once in a while. Not everybody loves to get taxed, but we're not the tax collector, but we're the assessor that sets how much you're gonna get.
So it's not that you had somebody in mind or somebody had broached you?
We don't have right now a good candidate, okay? We thought we might, but we think it's time to put something on the website, and, post some notices and let people know, maybe let people on the other boards know, because when I was talking today, I came in here, I found out you have an opening somewhere else, and maybe I could help with that.
Trustees of trust funds.
I mean, but not everybody's chomping at the bit for that one either, okay? But I do have some experience there.
So you're volunteering?
Well, I did say that I would be open to it if I mean, I realize you make the appointment, but I don't want to be sent over there and have me get rammed down somebody's throat.
Is that Woody and Mrs. Romerl now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think that, and those are two people I know and I like, I mean, I think they get along.
So the Board of Assessors is gonna put together a blurb
Yeah,
to put on the
yeah.
website?
Yeah,
So what was your thing about the fire brigade?
Well, I'm gonna go as the last elected official of this organization. People have died off.
You're not gonna get volunteers if you talk.
Well, when they get in their mid-90s and die, I mean, you know.
So you're advertising that if you get on the committee, you'll be guaranteed to the mid-90s. Sign me up.
I still like the idea, but here's the issue, okay? I'm not saying I wouldn't volunteer to help. I wouldn't donate, I wouldn't do things. It's just that I don't want to do it as part of some standalone nonprofit organization registered with the New Hampshire Secretary of State's office. When we got the idea of taking care of the two pieces of equipment that were sitting in the building, which we don't own, you own them, okay? We did get them so they operate. They need a lot of work, but they're quite functional. They're quite valuable.
They're not functional though.
They can pump. That hand pumper will pump water.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the engine.
Well, the engine, but it can be made to run. Okay. That truck, that Wachusett truck, is a very valuable truck. I don't know what its actual value is, but I can tell you it's also a piece of local, I say local history, because it was made in Fitchburg. And when we took it to a parade down there, and they saw us coming, they put us right in the front. I mean, it was a very prominent thing. And this town is part of the Fitchburg area. I mean, it's a cross-border area where people move back and forth and families.
History, sure.
And so, I really want to see something done. But when we decided to try this, we had the building rammed down our throat by a prior board of selectmen. Oh, you have to take the building. Oh, cool. We don't have the money to insure it. You could insure it as a tag along on your policy. I think you probably have Primex. I mean, this thing wouldn't make much difference, but for us, it becomes a huge thing, okay? So one of the deals when we took the building was, if we cease to function, the town gets the building back.
I need to correct you. I was on that board, and that building wasn't rammed down your throats. You guys come in and asked if you could have that building,
But to you,
and we leased it to you for $1. So
no, we didn't ask to own it.
You came in asking for the building, so
I didn't.
it wasn't forced upon the fire brigade. Trust me, there were other people that were interested in it.
Well,
But
we
anyway.
wanted to use the building for that purpose.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
And there was another person on the board of selectmen besides you who was very adamant that it had to be taken off of, the town could no longer own it. That was said to me, okay? We'll leave it at that,
all right.
okay? But anyway, so what I'm getting at is, once we cease to function,
Right. The building comes back.
the building comes back. The idea is we can't sell it, pocket the money and run, okay? And rightly so. But I think, I'm not saying we shouldn't have a group together to work on it. One of the thoughts we had was, when we put this together, was, oh hell, the fire department would love to get involved in this, and maybe we'll get some people to come over from the fire department, a couple of people from the historical society. Well, the fire chief was not in favor of us restoring anything. He wanted everything sold. Okay, that didn't work out too good.
All right, let me interrupt you a second, Jim, okay? Because you're going on and on and on.
I'm gonna stop right here.
Thank you.
To ride on the Wayback Machine.
First of all, the group that you're referring to that's in place now is a separate group from the town?
It's a totally separate group from the town, and it files a,
Something.
a
So,
BTLA form.
so if you were to send a letter to the town from that group to
Right,
say that we are no longer in a function, we want to
right,
turn that over,
right.
did they receive both the building and the equipment to maintain, or just the building?
Just the building.
Okay.
Okay,
So then if they did that, the current fire chief, we have had this discussion with her, and there are members of the fire department that are interested in partaking in being involved with that equipment. The last time I spoke with Dave Senior and Junior on the Wachusett, one part had been replaced and then something else happened and they were trying to get that rectified. And the board discussed that if there is cost involved, that they should not be trying to fund this out of their pockets, because it is town property.
that's right.
So I think to address your issue, if we could receive that letter, the town would then take it, insure it and whatnot, and still be advocating, and
I'm still an advocate.
that's
for
what I'm
doing it.
saying, and I'm hoping we could look to you to try and pull these various groups together
I
to
got
make
enough
it
paint
happen.
in my basement to paint the building twice over.
Well, I
Okay?
remember when David mentioned that, hey, we got it this weekend, it's getting power washed, and they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and I don't know if the volunteerism went
I'm
away
too-
or,
I'm a little too old to be climbing all over the building painting it, okay?
Yeah.
I will miss a step on one of the runs, okay?
and we don't need that.
No. And if I land on my head, I'll be okay, but other than that. I'm not saying, I just want, having thought it through, I think it's much better that the equipment and the building be owned by the town. Even if a club, if you wanna call it that, okay, is doing all the work and taking care of it and has some fundraisers and things like that, that's fine. I mean, the problem we had was, it was hard to raise money. We did raise some money, okay? Probably the biggest things we did were, we actually, with the Higginson Book Company, we did a reprint of the two town histories, the two major town histories. Boxes and boxes of books we sold, okay? So we did that, and that worked out pretty good.
So-
We did some other stuff.
We wanted, let's get the letter from these guys,
Yeah.
signed off by everybody that's on the committee. We'll
Is there
take
a
the building
formal
back.
committee in place that these are the people that sign off, or what's that process?
I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. Because
Okay.
Well, if you're registered with the state, somebody had to sign some paperwork somewhere.
There must be a
We're
secretary?
registered with the state, I gotta see who the state has,
Right, that's where I was going with it, and that person,
and
Right.
what the state has for names. I was a treasurer.
okay.
I funded the electricity in the building for like a year and a half or 2 years. I finally turned the power off. But, you know, the interesting thing is, it's a pretty neat building. It goes back to around 1860. And, it could be a nice little bright spot there. But I think it just takes a bunch of people getting together, and it could be a lot of fun. But, I mean, you know, having a couple of pieces of antique fire apparatus. You're talking a pumper bought in 1860 that was in service until 1928.
Well, and we have like the Autumn Fest coming up on Saturday. Now, that'd be a perfect place to have that piece of equipment. You know, because I don't think 3/4 of the people in town know it's there.
That hand pumper, we took it to a number of different places. And I remember one of the first times we actually used it live, okay? And we had everybody lined up where they could pump it, stuff like that. We cranked that thing up, I will admit the hose was old, we blew that sucker right in the middle. So we had to get another hose. You can throw a pretty good beam of water with that thing. And people love it, I mean, they just have a great time. I'll guarantee you, if we had the hand pumper and the Wachusett and your new fire truck lined up, guess we're gonna get the bigger play.
The new fire truck.
The old stuff. No.
Thanks,
Go
Jim.
look at the new fire
All right.
truck.
Thanks, Jim.
There you go.
All
All
right.
set. You'll get us a letter.
Oh, one last item.
Jim?
This gentleman sitting over here reminded me, when you pull out of North Road and make a right turn,
Mm-hmm.
there is something that looks like a copper mine or something like that on the side of the road that you can disappear into. In other words, I don't know if it's ours or the state's.
To state, yeah. I know you're looking toward Leo Road, is that,
As you make the right turn,
yeah,
if you cut it a little short,
yeah,
there's a big hole there.
yeah, that's a state culvert, it's state maintained, it's on one
That goes to
twenty-four.
land use, who orders all the
Okay, is that a culvert there?
There's a culvert that comes across, comes from Leo Road and across, yep.
Okay, so if it's a state, could somebody contact the state? It's actually dangerous.
Yeah, we can have them look at it.
And while they're here, I think it's time they pave Smithville Road.
We're working on that as well. That's a topic for another night.
See,
But you can take care of that since you were a state rep.
I was a state.
Right, but isn't that what I said?
No, I was.
I said since you were a state rep.
I have no authority.
No, but you can go up there and
That
talk to
connection.
people. I'm sure you've met one or two people while you were in that
Oh, yeah.
role.
Yeah, but I think Smithville Road is atrocious.
We're looking into,
What
in
we have
fact,
to
we
do
have
on
to
that.
get a letter off to DOT, but to, there was that program that's in place where if we can get the state rep and the DOT to look at it, where they will upgrade it to a certain standard yet unknown, with the caveat that town within, it become a town maintained road.
They've done a lot of those.
Yeah,
Well, I've heard that, but what's happened is that the funding dried up. So there's a long wait list. But we were told to at least get the request in so that when funding does become available,
Actually,
we're in the queue.
he
If
leaned
they
back,
built-
I think he's settling in again.
We had some,
if
we
they
had,
built
we had
the
some poor
thing
ladies been
properly,
waiting.
if they built the thing properly and had the right drainage and everything else, it probably would make sense to have it as a municipal road.
Yeah, because we
Well, that's
maintain
our-
it for winter,
that's
they
our
only do
hope.
summer,
Yeah, we
so.
main-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our hope. We
All right, we gotta move on, Jim, thank you, it's been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Jim.
Uh,
Do you mind if I come up?
Come right
Not
up.
yet, not yet.
You
Oh.
got that?
We're gonna disconnect the,
Okay.
Oh, wait, we got, David's looking for any more public business?
Yes.
oh.
Before we go to a
sorry.
non-public,
Okay.
we have to make a proclamation.
I didn't get that one. Like, why did that even come to us?
Why? This tree on Old Country Road,
Oh, that was just something
it's on,
today. They
is
went
it,
out to look at it and take care of it.
okay, but is it on private property or was this on?
Well, it was half on private property, half on a road, and.
Right, but not the tree itself. The tree wouldn't, like it had fallen on the road, but where did it fall out of? His private property?
But regardless, if it was a safety concern,
Right, I get that, but if it's a safety concern of something that had fallen off of his property, then he's the one that's supposed to call the tree service to come and take care of
if
it.
it's blocking the road,
So they must have cut it, just moved it off to the side, do you know what happened?
he didn't report that.
Okay,
No.
okay.
I'm just making sure that he's not expecting the town to dispose of a dead tree that fell off of his property.
Right.
Well, if we incur the cost too, the guys are out there doing it,
Right.
then we should look at
Billing
where it
back.
came from, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's, unless it was in that 3 foot.
Where is the, you got it from memory?
What's that?
There we go, this is what I'm looking for.
Put it right here.
RSA 93.
But there's two things you're gonna need
One.
to do. You're gonna need to do it for this one and also for personnel.
Okay. So. Alright. So, motion to go in a non-public session under RSA 91A3C and 91, let's see, 2A A. So for matters which discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person and the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee.
Second.